Hello crafters, in tonight's video we're going to be making a sympathy card using the Flight and Airy Designer Series paper found in the Sale-A-Bration brochure. I received mine for free, and you can too by placing a $50 order from the Sale-A-Bration brochure, but you need to hurry because Sale-A-Bration ends February 29th. Hi, I'm Joan and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I created this video for Joan's Simple Paper Crafts found right here on YouTube. If you're new here, I want to thank you for stopping by. If you're a returning guest, welcome back. Be sure to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below. That way you won't miss when I post a video, which is typically once a week. Now give me a few seconds to turn the camera down and we'll get started. Here's the card we're going to make tonight using the Flight and Airy Designer Series papers. Then we also use the Something Fancy's Cling stamp set using With Deepest Sympathy. Then we use the Perennial postage dies, and we just use this big one, and we used it multiple times on here. I'll show you how to do that. And then we also used the 3D embossing folders, and we used this one here, which has a hexagon on there, and then kind of a flower petal in the middle. So we're going to do this one first, and we're going to bring up our cut and emboss machine. Kind of takes up my whole desk here. In order to do this one, we're going to open it up and insert your cardstock in there. And I got a piece of basic white, and it's a quarter sheet, so it's 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. Or that would be 10.8 centimeters by 14 centimeters. And we'll trim that down. Then we're going to put it in our cut and emboss machine. And let me show you the pattern here. We're going to use the number 1 plate. And it should say number 1. Then we'll use our embossing folder. And we're going to make the folded side go in first. And then we're going to use the number 4 plate. And we're going to put that in there too. Then we just crank it out. And here we go. We'll come back to this one because I just want to get these other things cut out first. Then we need to use our dies, and we're going to use this sandwich now. We got the number 1 plate here, then the number 2 plate. Then we want a number 3 plate. Then we're going to put our paper down, and then we'll put our die down. And we're going to cut 2 of these one at a time here. And I have the other one all cut out already. So you want to take that second one that we had cut out already, and we want to put that in here, having our shortest edge going right here. This is the long way, this is the short way. So we're going to measure 2 11/16, and that would be 6.8 centimeters. So I've got it at the flat edge up here. There's like a little flat edge, and then it kind of scoops in, and then a flat edge. We got it the base at the flat edge there. And this is 2 inches. This is 8/16, 9, 10, and 11. I'm just going to make a tick mark there. We'll do the same thing down here. 9, 10, 11. Then we're going to put our die back on here. But what we want to do is we want to slide it up so that it stops at that point. So we will line these up here. And we want those to fit in here. So it just falls right into place there. And I'm holding it in place as I'm turning it over. And I'm going to set it down. And that's pretty much still in place there. And that is about the right size that we want. I'm going to just measure again. It should be about right. And I'm going to put our second number 3 plate on there. And we're going to just crank it out. That looks really good. See how we cut that almost in half? Let me see if I can't get this off from here. So it's just about in half, but we want the bigger piece of the two. I think we're done for right now. So let me get this out of the way. And then next we want is our card base. And we've got this piece at 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, or 14 centimeters by 21.6 centimeters. And we're just going to fold this in half and burnish it. And I'm using our bone folder to do the burnishing. And I'm going to flip this over so I can burnish it on both sides. That'll give me a nice crisp edge. Then we're going to take this piece here. This is cut at 4 inches by 5.25 inches, or that would be 10.2 centimeters by 13.3 centimeters. And we're going to stamp that with our inside sentiment. I don't have one right now, so we don't need to stamp it. We're just going to go ahead and glue it on the inside of our card. And if we decide we want to add it later, we can do that. So we're going to bring in our silicone mat to do our gluing. And I'm going to use a glue gun here. It's not a Stampin' Up! Product, but I did put some Stampin' Up! Glue inside of there. We're using our multi-purpose glue inside of this gun. And then I used to use this, but that has the multi-purpose glue in there as well. But I can't squeeze it anymore. My arthritis is so bad, so we're going to use this gun. And it allows me to get a nice fine line. And then you can get small dots if you need them, see? And if you squeeze lighter, they can get even lighter. And it has a base that it'll hold it in place, and then there's a rubber stopper at the bottom so it won't dry out. And let me get this on here. And next we're going to glue on our large postage stamp, and we'll just put glue on the back side of this. And I'm not worried about all those little pieces that are going out, because that'll be fine to have that kind of a ruffle there. And we're putting this on, leaving about 1/4 inch for a border on all 4 sides, and that would be 0.6 centimeters. I don't know what happened, but what I did is I went and got this 2 inches by 11/16 inch piece by 3 11/16 inch piece, and I colored it with our Stampin' blends. I filled this up with ink. I didn't really put a lot of ink on there, and then I rubbed most of it off, and then I just basically went over here. Then I went and stamped it with our Deepest Sympathy. Then I scrubbed the stamp clean, and then we're going to close this up because we are done with this. Then we're going to take this piece here, and this is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches right now. We're going to do 3.5 inches, which is 8.9 centimeters. And then it'll be 4 3/4 inches. So that's 12.1 centimeters. So now we're going to glue this on here. And we can just glue this, but if you want to use your tear and tape, you could use tear and tape or your Seal Plus. You need something that's going to be really strong and get all these small places here. I'm putting a lot of glue on this one. So it's just going to line inside of the postage stamp. So if I had to measure from the edge of this piece that I just put down to the edge of the card, that would be 3/8 inches or 0.9 centimeters. Next, we want to put our bird on here, but it needs to be fussy cut. So let me go ahead and start doing that. I'm going to leave 1/8 inch for a border on all 4 sides. I'm sorry, that's 1/16 of an inch for a border on all four sides. And now I'm going to turn the paper and not the scissors. And now I'm going to speed it up. Trying to get this edge off. It's kind of pointy. Here, I was able to soften it. There are several sheets of birds on the Flight and Airy, and I like the ones that had these small birds with them both sitting on a branch. So this is one that I use. Here's the paper right here. And I took this one right from here. And this is the one that's on my first card. There's several here that you could use on this card. And you're going to want to get that sooner than later because it does end at the end of the month. And I'm pretty sure the Flight and Airy is probably going to sell out before then. I'd order it as soon as possible. And having that little bit of blue shading behind it doesn't make it so harsh. It softens it up quite a bit. So we need to cut this at 2 3/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And I just want to double check that and see if that's going to work. So we need this to be 2 3/4 inches. And I'm looking down here. 2 3/4 inches. It's going to be a little bit long, I think, on the edge here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the 3 3/4 inch measurement, and I'm just going to slide it one way. We got 3 3/4 inches right here, or that's going to be 9.5 centimeters. So I'm going to bump it out one more, 9.5, make it to 9.6, and cut it. Then we're going to turn it, and it's 2 3/4, and I believe that measurement was okay. Now, the reason that it's not coming out exactly is because of sliding it. So you're not cutting it quite as exact as you'd like it to be. We want this to be 2 3/4 inches, and that was okay. So I'm going to cut it right on that 2 3/4 inches, and we should be good. Then we're just going to glue this down on here. Oop, we need our silicone mat. And I do need it because of all these little holes here. If I go out, I don't want it to get on my glass. Although the glass does wipe up, clean up really well with this cloth that comes with the glass. The glass you get when you start with Stampin' Up! During the celebration. So if you want this glass for free, why don't you give me a call and we can get you set up. Then we just squeeze this on here. We want it to fit on here as tight as possible. There. I should use my bone folder on the back here. Make sure I get all those air bubbles out. Now we can use our Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm one to use a lot of dimensionals. I'm going to cut this one in half because I don't like it to get all messed up when it goes through the rollers at the post office. So if I have them in all the spots, then it doesn't get messed up. We're going to take your pick tool, if I can get the pick side out, and take these paper backings off. And let's open this up, make sure we got it going in the same direction. So we'll go right here. And I want to center this. And that'll give me about 1 inch from all 4 sides. I'm thinking there was one side or 2 sides that doesn't quite go right. And I think it's the top and the bottom. All right. I think we are done with this. Oh, no, one more thing. Let's put some blue gems on here. Now, I don't have any blue gems. There is one that has the Misty Moonlight, and that's the Tinsel Gem. It's a 3-pack. That would work great for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one here. That is our Rhinestone Basic Jewels, and I'm just going to color them with my Misty Moonlight. I'm going to color them with the Misty Mountain Stampin' blends, and this is the dark. And I've already got 2 colored up there, and I'm going to try a big one here. Then you've got gems that match your paper. And I'm going to take this back and put it to the paddle again. And then we'll just slip these off and put them on. Go put one up here. And one right about here. And one down here. Got this big one right down here. Let me see, I've got some fuzzy there, so let me see if I can get it off before it attaches itself to the paper. Well, you know what? We're going to move our gem. I think it was where I touched the marker last, and then it just left a dot there. So I just put it right over that. Okay, we are done. I hope you liked watching me create this project as much as I did making it. Why don't you give it a try? Now, if you've enjoyed today's video, would you do me 2 favors? Click the thumbs up emoji, which means you like it, and would you share it on social media with your crafting friends and pin it to Pinterest? These actions will help me to keep sharing my ideas with other crafters for free, and I'd really appreciate that. Be sure to hit the subscribe button below so you won't miss any future videos. If you have any questions, be sure to contact me. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Just reach out to me. If you'd like to place a Stampin' Up! Order or like a catalog, hop over to my website where you'll find the Shop Now button. To shop with me, you'll need to go to joanheberlein.stampinup.net. And don't forget to place your order before celebration ends, and that is February 29th. Mark your calendars. I'll be back in 2 weeks, March 10th at 7 p.m. Central Time. And my next project will be from the new mini catalog, and I hope you'll be here to join me. Thanks so much for being here with me tonight, and I look forward to next time. Bye for now, and don't forget to subscribe.